Hello. Well, this message is for Ava, really, because yesterday I got really rude, and I think that was Stockholm Syndrome, and I was siding with gang stalkers as a sort of way of feeling safe or bragging. Essentially, I was saying to Ava, who if Ava's not watching, I'll just give reference for everyone else. She's a TI, and I was sort of making fun of her, I guess. Or it wasn't really the point to make fun of her, but sort of to assert dominance, I guess. So I could feel like I was in control. And also, like, I could feel like I had the power of being aligned with gang stalkers who I believed loved me. And so I was telling Ava, you shouldn't be so negative and you shouldn't do tarot card readings and you shouldn't badmouth gang stalkers while having had surgery from who would most likely be a gang stalker. And really, I think it was largely because I was high, but that's not really an excuse. Because the high just brings out your jerk self. And I think the jerk self came from a insecurity that I wanted to say that Ava is not right to feel like it's better to be alone because she's alone. And I was very afraid of being alone. And I really appreciate Ava's strength. I don't believe I have that much. And I think that may have been part of it too, that I was wanting to say that I'm certainly not as strong as her, and I don't have the strength to run away. It was a bit of both, of bragging that, oh, I have the love of the gang stalkers, and Ava, you should just be like me. And aren't you so proud of me, Ava, that I could actually get the love of the gang stalkers? And then it was also like, you shouldn't be so negative. It's your own fault for having to leave your family and having to leave everyone. And then it was partially just I find her attractive and I wanted to just set her straight. I wanted to help her in my own sick way. I wanted to say, you shouldn't be so negative because it's not going to help you really. And you should be more like me. And so I definitely have been calling Ava my girlfriend, but there are people who say that she is dating people and things like that. And I'm not saying she's dating me, okay? She's never even really talked to me. She's made some videos that I've thought have been correlated to things I've said. But if that's true, it doesn't mean that we're dating. It just means that she acknowledges me. And that's not really what people are saying about her, according to what she's saying. She's saying more that people are calling her like promiscuous or something. And that's not anything to do with me. But, anyways, it's pretty sad to feel like everyone you know is working to make you self delete. And it's pretty scary. I used to think that the difference between knowing you're a TI and knowing nothing about gang stalking while being a TI is once you know you're a TI, you have the ability to not be upset by people trying to make you self delete. Because at that point, you know that they have orders coming from somewhere else. And you could always say that they are just following orders. And yet, I'd have to wonder if I could trust people. For example, I trust Ava, and there are a handful of other people I trust. Now, does that mean that I'm in a relationship with Ava? That I trust her? Not really. I basically just think she's good looking and I trust her, so I say she's one of my girlfriends. But if I had to have a family, and the family had to be either poor and targeted with me, or rich and not targeted with me, and if I could live with a rich family who is not targeted with me, or a poor family who is targeted with me, I've always said that I would much rather live with rich people who are targeting me than live with poor people who are not targeting me. And therefore, I did not see Ava's point of view that she left her entire family at the price of being poor. And I think something about that touched on a deep nerve, that if I had more resources or guts or intelligence, that I would get as far away from everyone I've ever known as possible, just so that I can say that there's no Stockholm syndrome. And I could say my enemies are clearly my enemies, and there's no wiggle room that I think, do they love me? Do they love me not? Because that seems to be the way that they get compliance with self deletion. I mean, that would be the thing that would make someone become insane and despondent, is that you trick them into loving them. You trick them into loving you, I mean. And then, right as they love you, then you say, no, it was just a trick and you should self delete. And then they are afraid to love the next person. Now, the thing I really love about Ava, I don't want to make this too Ava centric. Okay, if you're listening, Ava, I don't really intend on ever having a relationship with anyone ever again, including with you. I don't believe that it's possible. I would love to love someone. I would love to hug someone. I would love to sleep with someone. I don't believe that that's possible. So please don't be feeling smothered by me or something. I'm using you as an example because you're someone I trust. Like, there's no possibility that I will say one day, oh, you know what? I think Ava's a gang stalker. There's no possibility of that. And at first, you kind of take that for granted when you find someone like that and you realize they'll never betray you. Especially when you've been betrayed by anyone and everyone you've ever known. And then you find some people who will not betray you. The meaning, the value of it, it goes beyond relationship, like romantic relationship. It's more special. It's more pure than that. Because in a romantic relationship, you can always say, maybe they don't really love me. Maybe they just think I'm hot. Maybe they just think I'm rich. But when you have someone who is clearly not a liar, clearly not pretending to be someone else, it's helpful. Now, I say the word helpful with a thought in my mind that my life is going nowhere and it sucks. And I'm not really consoled by knowing that people out there exist who would not betray me, while also knowing that I'm not allowed to be near them. And that if someone like Ava, or there are other people who are not pretending to be someone they're not, were to ever find me, that someone would prevent it from happening, that we would get close. And that is the point of a genocide, to stop the people who you're genociding from having reproduction. Which for me, I'm already all on board with not having babies in an overpopulated world. But as part of the genocide, there's no love allowed for the victim. And so, really, I'm thinking about, one, I'm grieving the loss of the gang stalkers who I love, which is painful. I'm scared. And I feel like some kind of shift happened where I was happy and then I suddenly just became sad, as if I just gave up on my entire life, as if I had literally not given up on my life until today. And then, of course, today we have the neighbors harassing and cars going by honking and a car outside our house parked to symbolize a break in or something, all in coordination with my becoming despondent today and depressed to encourage my self deletion. Which I'm not trying to complain. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't like to complain about things. I see all these starving kids on commercials at Christmas time, and I think I don't even want to see this because there's nothing I can really do about that anyway. And for people to hear me complain, um, I don't know if it's the same thing. Like, I don't know if just following orders counts. If it's the same thing, like, I won't go help someone in a poor country who's starving. I'm not going to sacrifice my time or my life to do that. But I'm also not actively killing them. And so I don't know if it's the same thing as gang stalking, but it's definitely scary and it's definitely perverted. And I'm just sorry to Ava for being mean. I was just a bully, and I'm sorry about that. And I love watching your videos. If you're watching this, Ava, I really, in, in spite of our different views about the matriarch and the patriarch, I love watching your videos, even when you talk about the matriarch and the patriarch, or the patriarch. there was one video where you talked about how some men are divine, and it really helped me when you said that. It really made everything okay. And I'm really sorry that all this bad stuff is happening to you. You're a really good person, and I'm actually like in shock that any of this is even real and that this is actually a real thing that happens. And I actually feel like an apology from me about the situation of the world is not really that helpful, because certainly I can feel the love that you have, and it doesn't really make my life better. It does. No, it totally does. Okay. No, I don't mean it like that. It totally does. But I mean, it doesn't stop the fact that I'm being tortured, if that makes sense. But in another sense, it means a lot because, and it means actually so much that it's actually so much how much it means. Because if it wasn't for people like you and Zev, and sometimes I have my issues with Zev, but ultimately those issues are trivial. And people like Travis Sutton and even alternative homesteading, who I've stopped watching, but I know they exist, and that's the point. I would probably be in a lot worse condition than I am right now if I didn't have really cool, really good people to validate my experience. I would actually be just as scared as I am now, but even more scared, and just as sad as I am now, but even more sad. And I would, most worst of all, blame myself for everything that's happening to me. And I would actually hate myself while feeling all of these emotions. And because of people like you and the other handful of people who I could count on two hands, I actually don't hate myself anymore. And so when I feel pain now, it's in my chest, it's in my heart. It used to be in my stomach, which is the feeling of guilt. And it's actually moved up to my heart now, where it's just the feeling of heartbreak. And it's just so much. I can't take it sometimes. And so that's ultimately why I'm really sorry for being rude to you, because I didn't consider how difficult it is. I was just calloused, and I was trying to pretend like it's not that difficult and like it's no big deal. And anyone who says it is, well, you're just nuts. But I really love your honesty. And, you know, the fact that you mentioned that no one has paid you, it is so candid of you to say that. It's so good of you to do that, to do your tarot card readings. I don't believe in tarot card readings, but the fact that you believe in that and you're doing that for free to help people, and no one's paying you, and you're still telling people no one's paying you and you're still doing it, like, you're still trying to help people even though they're killing you. It is like it's like really sad. It reminds me that the reason you do it is because you're trying to hold on to something human. Like, you're trying to still do a good deed for people as they kill you, so at least you could be good, you know. And And when you talk about how you're gonna get the police involved and sue them and stop the gang stalking, it reminds me of like that you have hope. Like I don't believe that it's gonna stop. And so anyway, one other thing I forgot to say is I really like the fact that you have hope, even though I don't believe it's gonna stop. I like the fact that you have hope, and I think that triggered some kind of jealousy, that you have some kind of innocent outlook on life, and I'm more what I would call realistic. But considering it triggered me, it could be just that I'm jaded. Even if I am more realistic and it is more likely it's never going to stop, the fact that it would make me upset that you wouldn't think it would stop would make it's triggering me somehow, that I'm jealous that you have a positive outlook on life. That I want to say you shouldn't have that positive outlook because it's only going to lead to disappointment. And let me just take that positivity away from you to help you. But really, that seems more like I'm jealous, or like I'm somehow insecure about your outlook. And the other thing I want to say is, in my previous video, I said it's gross that you had a baby, probably had a C-section, and that you had surgery on your colon. And that's not really true. Just having scars and having part of your colon removed, I can imagine it was from diverticulitis, because my mom just had that, and I think that that's why people get it removed, part of their colon, with some kind of non-invasive surgery. That's not really gross. Having scars and giving birth and having a C-section, which I would just assume because you had surgery on your colon, which would probably mean you're dehydrated, which would probably mean that you had to have a C-section as well. It's not really gross to have scars. It's actually just more so gross to be dehydrated. And uh well, you're vegan now and you've probably shaped up your diet, and so I actually take back saying it's gross to have those things. What I actually meant is it's gross to be dehydrated. And I don't think you look particularly dehydrated. I think you look as good as anyone, really. And so I'm feeling kind of bad that I said those things, and I just wanted to explain it. And truthfully, if I was a girl and I had to give birth right now, I'm probably dehydrated enough that I would have to have a C section. So, again, I'm sorry for being a judgmental hypocrite and acting like I'm better than you. Okay, so that's about everything. Okay, bye. And one other thing is that they're not actually killing you. I mean, you are surviving. So please don't be brought down by my negativity. In my opinion, they are killing us. But as far as I know, you've never said that they're killing you. Maybe you've said they're trying to kill you. But my point that I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to be negative and say, isn't it just so sad that they're killing you and you're still doing your best to be a good person? That's just a way of looking at it. And I would like to acknowledge other points of view, which would be that they're only attempting to kill you or attempting to harm you, or whatever, however you'd like to frame it, whatever they're doing. They're it's certainly not nice. They're, in a very nice way of saying it, I could say they're being not nice to you, and it's supposed to make you suffer, and but you're not suffering, even though it's painful. Like, do you that you're resilient enough that it's not actually hurting you, in a sense, that you're surviving it, and that you're thriving. You're still doing things. You're still making vegan chocolate and doing tarot card readings. And so that's really great. And I don't want to be someone who's a negative person and saying, and isn't it just so sad that they're killing you, and oh my god, and they're killing me too, and let's just cry about it. Okay, I don't want to do that. Um, Personally, I watch your videos to see someone who's doing well, as much as they're doing terrible things to you, you're not someone who I actually consider negative, really. I mean, I think what triggered that was the whole patriarch thing. And I think I was just narcissistic taking responsibility for you. I'm sorry about that. It's something about seeing you write posts about what the gang stalkers are doing, and I do the same thing. And I was thinking, why are you fighting with them? But I'm fighting with them all the time. I mean, just I couldn't have been more of a hypocrite, really. And I'm glad I realized it, because now to say this apology to you, I feel completely like a full hypocrite. And I see your power so much more. I actually didn't realize how much I like you. And I'm not saying that as someone who's trying to be your boyfriend. I'm saying that as a victim of this who is comforted by your way, by how you're handling it, by your strength, really. And so I'm sorry for putting you down. I would be embarrassed to even watch your videos, because I would be afraid that you would be kind of sad in your video and like it was my fault. I would actually be scared to watch your videos right now, to see that I had some kind of negative impact on you. So that's why I'm making this video, to try to make it right and to try to show you that I had it all wrong. Well, at the same time, I can also see my own point and not have to detract from yours. I can also say that I love that you do tarot card readings and that I don't personally like tarot card readings. And I can, in that same sort of sense, I can also say that I have a different point of view sometimes. I mean, about 30 minutes ago, I didn't, but sometimes I have a different point of view in which I believe that the people who are harming are not guilty, and that it is safe to love them. And it is safe to know and believe that they love me as well. And some of them possibly love me very much, like perhaps love me more than anyone. And I think that's a valid point of view too. When you are aware that they are being watched as well. And so I think ultimately my apology to you is by trying to detract from your position. It was a chauvinist pig thing of me to do. To say, no, you should see it my way. But I don't think that I'm doing better than you. So who am I to tell you anything? I'm no one. I'm just a chauvinist asshole to tell you anything. And I'm very thankful to realize it. I feel like by realizing it, not only has my appreciation of you gone higher and your helpfulness to me, like you do tarot cards to help people, but really the way that you help me is just by the way that you talk and how great you are, how lovely you are, and my knowing that you're going through really horrible things and you're still able to keep your humanity. And that is really important for me to see. So you're a very significant person in my life. And I'm glad that I realize it. I'm actually glad I was rude to you, and I'm glad I can apologize and move even higher up in my understanding of myself and of you and of other people as well. So thanks for being awesome. Thanks for making your videos. You are really great and you're really beautiful. And you're making me a better person too. And you didn't need tarot cards to do it for me. But I'm not trying to naysay on tarot cards. And I'm just saying you understand. Okay.